Hey, I'm Jennifer Hurwitz, best-selling author of the books One Happy Divorce and Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda. I'm a relationship coach, a public speaker, and I'm the mom of two of the most kick-ass teenage boys around. Raw, authentic, and insightful, this podcast is a no-bullshit slice of reality for anyone curious about what it looks like to get divorced. On Doing Divorce Right, we'll give you the tools you'll need to navigate your relationships, whether you're contemplating divorce or have already signed the papers. We'll figure it out together without taking ourselves too seriously here on Doing Divorce Right podcast. The SoberLink system is designed to make parenting time safer with real-time remote alcohol monitoring. SoberLink uniquely combines a breathalyzer with wireless connectivity and is the only system that includes facial recognition, tamper detection, and advanced reporting. Parents can submit a test anytime, anywhere, thanks to SoberLink's wireless technology, which delivers test results by text message or email to the concerned parties. Simplify co-parenting arrangements by using the system that provides transparency and proof of sobriety throughout the day. Flexible schedules combined with real-time delivery of results make SoberLink the experts in remote alcohol monitoring technology. It's my pleasure to offer my listeners $50 off your device. Just email info@soberlink.com and mention Doing Divorce Right. But hurry, it's for a limited time only. Soberlink.com. Hello. Good morning. This is Doing Divorce Right. Hi, I'm Jennifer Hurwitz, and I bring you the best guests. Yay, I'm so happy. You guys have no idea how happy and excited I am for this guest today, Vicki Vollweiler. Did I get that right, Vicki?
Yes, you did.
Yes, I'm so happy. Okay, good. I'm so excited for this episode because my child, Jonah, he's not a child anymore. He's like an 18-year-old grown-up, is going to college this year. Oh my gosh, I don't want to cry during this. And so we are all freaking out about the COVID-19 crisis with this college thing and what to do and what financially, what's happening and all the stuff that's going on. So I've got the most awesome rock star guest with me today, Vicki, who is a divorced mom who also has her MBA that she received from, yes, Syracuse University, where my son wants to go, on a full ride, but stipend also?
Scholarship, stipend. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. I want to hear the whole thing. So now you're a divorce coach, but you've turned into a financial planner, right? Financial
planner in a different sense. I help families with high school age kids, 11th grade, 12th grade, and parents who have children already in college, save money on the cost of college.
There we go. So there, you just did your own intro for me. You are like the guy. I love this. I found you on LinkedIn and I said to myself, oh my God, we have to do an episode about this because I feel like people are freaking out. And I don't think it's even before the COVID thing, we all freak out about college and how we're going to afford it and what we're going to do and where do we find scholarships. And I think a lot of us have no clue.
It's very true. It's a hard process if you're totally unfamiliar with it. But that's what I do. I guide families through the process, so I want to make what's sometimes seen as very, very stressful much easier.
Which is awesome. So you're the founder of it's called the College Financial Prep, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So start with us and tell us so you're a divorce mom. You decided one day, like you're a divorce coach and how did you change your mind into doing this? This is what happened.
I do have my MBA. My focus has always been on analytics. I used to always negotiate contracts with clients and vendors and focus on the return on investment and the economics to make sure everything always made sense. Anyway, I went through my own divorce a number of years back. And at the time, I decided, with the process the way it is, that there has to be a better way. I took over a lot of my own negotiations because I was familiar with contracts and I wanted to be the one to negotiate the business terms of my life. Not the legalese, but as far as the business terms, that should be my thing to do, not necessarily an attorney. Anyway, so I'm a divorce coach and I noticed that I prefer helping people with their personal finances, budgets, income, expenses, and for me, not so much the emotional side. So I was doing some support groups with the psychologists and social workers and had them there to help back me up for the emotional side, and I focused on the financial. And then eventually clients started to say to me, well, now I need to send my kid to college. How am I going to afford this?
Oh. Right.
And at the same time, my own kids were starting to get older, and I was starting to think about college. And it was still a little while off, but after much research and, doing it myself for a few years and whatnot. Here we are.
Which is awesome because it's funny, I'm obviously a divorce coach as well, but I don't have that background that you have. So for me, we would work great together. It's funny. My divorce is really happy and amicable. So my ex-husband, thank God, my husband is a CPA, right? So he understands all this stuff. So I'm actually lucky, but a lot of women and men are not in the position that I'm in. So it's fantastic to have someone available like you who can walk people through the process who have no clue what they're doing. Like if I didn't have my husband, I would have no idea. You're speaking a language that I have no clue. So what are some tips and some things that you think, like, what do we do? Where do we even start? I mean,
first of all, whether you're married or divorced, no matter what your income is, some people think, I'm not even going to fill out a financial aid form because I'm not going to qualify for anything. So why should I bother?
Right. I think a lot of us think that, right?
Yes, definitely. And I always tell people, no, you need to fill it out. And the reasons are, obviously, if you need financial aid, if there's a need situation, obviously you fill it out. But beyond that, a lot of the schools, not 100%, but many of the schools, they want a financial aid form on file, even to award merit money.
Oh.
So I don't care if it's, $2,000 or if it's $20,000 a year. You fill out the form to be able to get that merit money.
Okay.
Another reason to fill it out. It doesn't matter how much the parent or parents earn. Every student, by filling out the financial aid form, is eligible to receive a loan from the federal government. Now, they're smaller loans, but they have the cheapest interest rates. So you obviously want to fill out the forms just to get the lowest cost student loan if you need that.
Okay.
Another reason to fill it out, if a student wants to apply for a work-study program,
right,
you have to fill out the financial aid forms.
Okay.
And the last reason that I usually tell people to fill it out is that it's almost like an insurance policy, filling it out. Right. If there's some type of major change during the course of the school year, say in a divorce situation, the parent loses the job.
Yeah, that's a big deal. God forbid that happens, right? Deal.
And at least if the form is already on file, it's much easier to go in and have things changed as opposed to then having to wait for the following year to go file.
Absolutely. I think that people don't even realize, that's important. That I would never think of that. And especially like if you can get merit scholarships or that kind of thing, you have to do that, right? That's
definitely, or a chance, foregoing it.
Right.
Again, I said with that, it's not 100% of every school. So, depending on the schools that the student's applying to, a family may want to check with the financial aid office to see if the FAFSA forms are needed to award merit money.
Right. And it's called FAFSA. So everybody needs to, I think people don't even know that. It's a FAFSA.
Well, there are two different financial aid forms. Okay. So there's FAFSA and there's the CSS profile.
Okay.
So FAFSA is a government form, whereas CSS profile is a form that about 350, 400 predominantly private institutions use.
Oh.
So Syracuse, NYU, BU, GW, so, some of the big name schools, a lot of big name schools use it.
Okay, what are the major differences?
So major difference is FAFSA is a simpler form than the CSS profile. CSS profile takes a more holistic approach in looking at the student and their family's finances. They may even get as detailed as asking what kind of car you drive.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. They really want to know.
They're like, what do you got going on there? Okay, gotcha.
Typically with FAFSA, just the custodial parent will provide information.
That was my next question.
With CSS profile, it depends on the school. Sometimes the non-custodial parent's information will also be asked for. So sometimes I'll work with clients depending on their situations. There may be a situation where the custodial parents, haven't spoken in years, or, there's no way that they're going to get financial information from the other parent. And, I may work with clients to purposely be strategic in a sense in developing a college list so as to avoid any issues with the non-parent, a non-custodial parent.
So sometimes you have to be real careful. My next question for you is, and this is, I don't know if you can even answer this, but what if you have two parents that they talk, it's not a problem, but they both, there's not a custodial parent, for example, like they both share the same custody and they neither of them pays them one alimony, or they both make about do they both do FAFSA, or do one chooses, or how does that?
No, they do not both do FAFSA.
Okay.
There's always a way to tell for FAFSA purposes who the custodial parent is.
I see.
It does not follow the tax returns for who deducts that child. It's totally separate. But there are some guidelines to follow to determine who is the custodial parent.
I see. Okay, and so that's all. I haven't done it yet, so that's all on there, and everyone understands. I see. Okay. It's so very confusing. so this is crazy to me. So, and do you mind if we talk about the COVID situation? Does that, I'd love your opinion. I just think
of course.
So what are people doing? I mean, are people waiting? Are they,
People are all over the place, and rightly so. I mean, my own son is in college, he wants to go back, and
of course.
Fine. But, most of the schools are going back, but yet predominantly all of the classes, or most of the classes, are still online.
Right.
So, they'll be in dorms, yet taking online classes.
It's like, what do you do, right? I mean, but no one's getting refunds. Like, I feel like no schools are saying you're getting your money back. That's not happening.
Well, I'm not sure what you mean, because from the spring, the kids were sent home.
Right.
And everybody received refunds for the unused portion of housing and meals.
Right.
But they didn't get tuition refunds because they finished up their classes at home online.
Right.
Going forward now for the fall, I've spoken with several clients about this and what to do. And people are concerned, and rightly so. So some suggestions that I've made is, you have the option, the child doesn't want to go away, to send them to a community college.
Right.
The classes are still going to be online, and sending them to a community college, because the classes will cost so much less than the private university.
Right, that's what I was thinking. Right, like why spend money for Harvard when you can go to your community college but then are they able to defer, or do they have to take a gap year, or they just...
So it's interesting, because if a child chose to do that and go to a community college, what's happening is then, especially if the child receives merit scholarships, they're going to lose those merit scholarships.
Oh, they
will lose them. You have to wait all. Every school is going to be a little different. I was speaking with a client the other day, and her daughter's actually transferring into one of the state universities from a local community college.
Okay.
And I said to her, again, all the classes is going to be online. If you want to save money, there may not be a reason to go for the dorms fall semester until they see, so you see what's happening, because she could take all the classes online.
Sure.
Right, but she was living at home just the same as when she was attending community college. But I think every family feels differently. Even though we know that it's not going to be the traditional on-campus experience, because it can't be, people still want to go to experience whatever they can experience.
Of course, yeah. Because how do you say to your kid, you can't go to school? You know what I mean? They still want to go. They're teen. They want to get the experience of being away. I mean, I can't imagine. Imagine.
But it's definitely going to look different. What were once, triples and quads may be reduced to doubles. What were once doubles may be reduced to singles. Whatever, campus-wide activities they used to have, I'm sure they're not going to be having.
Right.
So it's going to look totally different. And maybe that's fine, especially for the freshmen who aren't going to know any,
Yeah, they won't know. Yeah, that's a great point. Like, what do they know? Maybe they'll be happier with just 2 people in the room instead of 4. I mean, that's kind of cool. I remember wow, I'd love to get a single. Wouldn't that be cool? I mean, who knows? They don't know the difference, right? I mean, it's always a positive, I guess.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, we really don't know. I mean, and I'm making this up, and I certainly hope it never comes to pass. But, October 15th could come, and, the schools all may need to shut down again. We have no idea what's going to be.
Yeah, that's the horrifying thing that I'm thinking of. What do you get all those kids up there, and then they're all in the dorm room? And that's my biggest fear is I'm like, what do you do when all those kids, God forbid, they get, I can't even think about it. It's like,
right.
Yeah.
And it's not, I mean, you're talking now about, a child getting sick.
Yeah.
but the concern also for the schools, it's not just the students and the staff. It's what happens when the staff and students go to their families and then into the communities. And
yes,
so
that's the problem. That is the problem. I mean, how do you contain it? That's the real issue here. It's just the whole thing is, and I talked to all my friends who have their kids going and they have houses on campus or off campus and they've already paid their leases and they can't get out of their leases and they're going to send it. It's just like there's
in
always.
that respect, it may be better to stay on campus because at least the colleges will work with you if something happens.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Right. So the colleges themselves may provide a refund if a student, say, like in an on-campus apartment as opposed to an off-campus apartment.
Oh, I see.
An off-campus apartment, you have a lease for a year. So
yeah, well, that's my friends. They're already stuck in it. They've already paid their leases, and their management companies are not giving their leases back.
Right,
so,
right.
Like, they're sending them to Michigan State or they're sending them to Ann Arbor because that's my friends in Detroit because they've already paid.
Right.
So they're like, well, they might as well be up there anyway. I'm like, oh my God. And then they're going to parties, and it's like the whole thing is just so. Oh my gosh!
It's scary. It's
so scary. Yeah. And then
there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. There's no.
Right. And then there's my kid who's doing his interviews, with Syracuse and Maryland or whatever online. Thank God he got to see Syracuse last year when he went for his tour and it was fabulous. But now it's like, the whole ACT, we could go there all day, but your opinions, I just love talking to you. But the ACT, SAT thing is just horrifying for us because, what do they do there? I don't know if you have an opinion on that, but.
Well, okay. So let me say this.
Please.
If a student has an opportunity to take the test.
Yes.
Whenever the opportunity is, take it.
Okay.
Because while the schools are going test optional, they're not going test blind.
Okay.
So, for instance, and I'm making a broad assumption. We're doing divorce right. So,
yes,
part of
divorce. That would be great.
So part of it, is looking for all the savings and looking for the money.
Sure.
So I want students to take the test, if and when they can.
Okay.
I understand, all the limitations on that, what's going on right now. But if they get a great score, they may be eligible for merit money, or they may be eligible for honors programs that come with so many wonderful benefits, including money, but lots of other benefits too. If a student has the opportunity to take the test, definitely.
Okay, can I ask a really specific question? And I don't know if you can answer this. What is a good score for merit scholarships? What do you consider
Okay, so it totally varies by school.
Of course.
There's no right answer to this. Every student, I don't care what the student's grades are, every student can qualify for a merit scholarship.
Oh, wow.
But it depends on what schools you're looking at.
Of course.
Obviously, you want to be either have top grades, and again, those SAT, ACT scores, if you can get them in. You want to be in the top of the applicant pool, or you want, say, they just introduced a brand new major at the school, and that's exactly what your child is interested in. Maybe they'll want to entice you to attend and be in that program,
right.
Or maybe. You live in one part of the country, but a school in another part of the country has a really great program that your child is interested in. They may want to increase their number of students from your geographic region and may offer more money.
And all this. This is a game. This is the whole college game I love. So, and this is what you do. This is your thing.
Yes.
Everyone needs to hire Vicki. There we go. Because I'm thinking this is where the game needs to be played here. See, my sister's really good at this. She's got this. My nephew and my son are both going to they're seniors, and we talk this game all day. I love it.
It is. A lot of it is like a game. But I love working with people and being strategic in the planning process. Before even the applications are sent to the schools, and then afterwards, it's making sure the financial aid forms are filled out to, maximize potential savings.
Okay, Vicki, so I have a really crazy question. I don't know if you can answer this, but let me know. So what do you think about early decision when the ED thing? Does that have anything to do with financial situations? Or I've heard that you can actually, I don't know if you could, are the kids actually really stuck? Is there a way to get out of an early decision if they get in or no?
When you sign early decision, it's supposed to be a binding contract.
Yes. Is it?
Yeah. It depends on the financial, if all of a sudden a family loses their job, yes, or something happens and they truly can't pay for it, then you can be released.
Okay. Okay.
But it gives it kind of dings the whole high school. They may not want to accept more students. But things are also changing right now. There's talks that it may, like from the government, almost like they're trying to break monopolies of the schools with early decisions. I would check with the schools before you apply for early decision, but it may be possible to be approached by other schools now and to consider switching schools if there was a reason to.
Oh, wow. Okay. So for example, like my son, we're just talking about him because that's what I'm doing right now. His first choice is he wants to go to the Newhouse School at Syracuse. And so he's thinking, they're telling him that to apply early decision, they only take 400 kids. So that is his first choice. Clearly.
Okay. So when my own son was going to school, and, I'll tell you what I tell Tim and what I tell everyone.
Okay.
I didn't want to commit to paying full price. A lot of the early decision, you have to run the numbers.
Okay.
See what your net price costs will likely be.
Okay.
And know what financially you're getting into.
Right. So
with my own son, I told him we weren't applying early decision anywhere. He can apply early action, but not early decision because I didn't.
Okay. Because you have to pay with early decision. You cannot get scholarship or anything.
It's less likely. They know that you want them. They're not trying to entice you to go to them at that point.
I gotcha. Okay. Now that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Because, with Jonah, like we basically said, look, like if you get into Syracuse Newhouse, that's great, but we're not paying out of state tuition for Syracuse if it's not Newhouse.
Well, wait a second. So Syracuse is a private university.
Right.
There's no out of state tuition, but there is private tuition.
Right. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Right. So basically, like he wants a specific program, which is the Newhouse School is the broadcasting communication school. We could talk later, but I'm just saying, so there are other programs that he's looking at, but that's a specific one that he wants. So, my ex and I, my husband, we both decided when Jonah too, that like, if he didn't get into that specific, you have to apply to that college, that specific school, that, there are other colleges with this, comparable programs that are not as expensive. Obviously, this. So, that was our problem is that, we don't want to pay Syracuse tuition for not that program. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you have to, again, be strategic, find the programs, whether you're looking in a specific geographic region, whether you're looking, that only offers, certain. When I work with clients and we're trying to find the colleges with the programs, we'll look by geographic region, we'll look by majors, we'll look by size of school, we'll look by public versus private university.
Yep.
We can look to see if they have a specific sport that the child, definitely wants to play. There are a whole host of factors, but make sure you find the schools, and then you want to figure out what the cost is going to be based on your family's. Right. By running those net price calculations, you can get a pretty good estimate as to what your final bill would be.
Gotcha. Wow. This is just, I could talk all day about this because I just think it's just such a, it's just so, it's crazy the stuff that you can, and I don't think people really realize that the options are out there. You know what I'm saying? Like you can make, but then the problem is that the emotions get involved. And I feel like your child wants so badly,
Definitely.
They're 18 and they just want something so badly that they don't see. Like I remember back when we were applying, like I had two choices. My parents said, you're going in state. It's Michigan or Michigan State. Pick one.
Right.
And that was it.
So let me say this. Especially in the case of separated or divorced parents and, and not knowing, you have a great situation, so that's fabulous.
Mine's different, right? It's very unique.
But most people don't have that, and
no, they don't.
Not most people. A lot of times clients will come to me, and college isn't even in their divorce agreement. Like they really have no idea what's going to be, if there's going to be anything from the other parent, or what to expect, or
right.
But anyway, I really believe that the parent and child. Ideally parents and child, sit down and discuss this, because if there isn't a conversation up front,
oh my God, I agree.
Senior year, like, oh my God. So the child may want one thing, the parents may want something else. By the end of senior year, I can't imagine like the stress, the overload, the parents are concerned about the finances. The kid only wants, what the child wants and to go where, maybe
awful.
Where his friends are going. But yeah, I think as long as there's, and they say this about divorce too, ideally, co-parents will communicate. I mean, in this situation, I definitely think it's important to communicate with the kids as well.
I cannot agree with you more. I 100% absolutely think you need to, and I even in my situation as well, you have to have a conversation with your kid because it's like putting candy in front of a baby, right? I mean, you can't say to your kid, you can go to any school you want. And then when you sit down to do the finances, you can't afford it. And the kid thinks he can go to, for example, Syracuse. And then, God forbid he can't, then, his dreams are crushed. Like that just can't happen, right? So
well, that's why it's so important to me when, to be strategic up front, even before applying to schools.
Yes.
Know what you can afford or what your values are in terms of student loans, if you're going to need student loans. Know the specifics about, what type of programs you're looking for. Maybe the child is undecided. Maybe if a child is undecided, you want to specifically look for larger universities that offer a full spectrum of programs to give the child opportunities to discover, what interests them.
Right. And maybe they need a gap year. How do you feel about gap years?
I think that's very family specific, child specific. Okay. I don't feel one way or the other about it.
I'm just asking. I just figure, the more you're here, I figured I would ask,
if a child doesn't know what they want to do and, maybe it'll help them find themselves and they're not ready to pay all the money and not know what direction they're going in. Yeah, it may be very worthwhile.
Sure.
I think it's very student specific.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I just think it's so stressful. I feel like I just think I will do anything to keep the stress down. I just can't. I see my friends and they are some of my friends I can't even be around because it's so stressful for me. It's just so stressed. They're so stressed. And I feel like everyone needs you.
They're so stressed about what? Is it
just everything.
The money?
It's really they want, I feel like a lot of people, and I shouldn't say a lot, maybe it's just I don't know. They want something for their child that either is unattainable or unachievable, or they want it and the child just doesn't.
Well, we all, the majority of us, definitely want what's, best for ourselves, best for our children, best financially, best,
right.
So we all want the best, but that's why the communication and being strategic up front is key because it'll bring you closer to what
I agree.
Is best. Of course, that looks different for every family, but it's putting the pieces together of being strategic up front and filing the forms the correct way and filing appeals if there's been a change in the situation or maybe there's a unique situation going on, to help to rein in those costs. Yeah, I think a lot of the stress is coming from overwhelm and being unfamiliar with the process and thinking about the potential dollars. And, so my goal is to help people through that. I guide people through the maze of financial aid.
Yeah, everyone needs you. I feel like this has been a great conversation filled with so much good information that I didn't know that I think a lot of people aren't familiar with. I think a conversation with you is so necessary. Where do people find you? What's the easiest way?
Well, my website is www.collegefinancialprep.com. We also have a Facebook page. So
yes, you do.
Facebook.com/College Financial Prep. And everyone, they can always reach out and give me a call. I offer complimentary consultations, whether people are near or far. Virtual consultations are always offered. And that's it. So you can find my phone number on the website if you want to reach out. And definitely everyone should join the Facebook group because I'm always posting new articles, information, insights, different free scholarships that are offered. I don't recommend any of specific scholarship websites, but I know everybody likes to look at them. Just so everybody knows, the most free money typically comes from the schools itself. That's why it's so important to plan in advance.
Okay. Yeah. And I love I follow you on LinkedIn and that's where I found you. And I love your articles. I send them to my ex-husband. I feel like you're just this like wealth of knowledge. And I had to have you. That sounded really bad, but I just think you're fabulous. So everybody, all of your information is going to be in the show notes. So you can find Vicki's, all of her information in the Doing Divorce Right show notes. This episode is definitely share with your friends, share with people, get this information out there, you guys. This doesn't have to be stressful. It can be way easy. It's just like doing divorce right. This is doing college right. Look at that. I mean, this is good. Vicki, I loved having you.
Doing divorce and college right.
That's right. Doing divorce divorce in college right, you guys. I love it. Vicki, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm very, very happy to be here today.
Thanks,
you.
Honey. Thank you. And everybody, you know where to find me. But Vicki, you got her, and now there's me and Jennifer Hurwitz. I'm here every Tuesday. You know what I'm doing. And you can find me at www.jenniferhurwitz.com. And as always, if you want my books, you know where to find them. Amazon and all over the place and, whatever. Anyway, so that's that. And go do something fun today. And as always, peace, love, and truth. Hey, thanks for listening to Doing Divorce Right. Don't forget, if you love the show, subscribe, rate, and review anywhere you get your episodes. And grab my books, One Happy Divorce and Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda, on Amazon, Target.com, or my website, JenniferHurwitz.com. As usual, thanks for listening. And we'll see you next week. Peace, love, and truth.